Hi everyone. In this session I will show you the migration from Shopware 5 to Shopware 6. My guide for this will be the Shopware documentations, the Shopware docs. So I will stick to the migration phases. First of all, we've got the preparation phase where we'll show you the first steps, the system requirements and the migration environment. Keep in mind I won't show you the installation of Shopware 6, but I will go with you to the Shopware first run wizard because we can install the migration assistant there. Then I will come to the migration period where we'll show you the migration process in general and the upgrade guide. And then I will finally come to the final stage and show you everything about the go live. Let's start with the first steps. But first of all, we come to the background information. Shopware 6 is a completely new product. This is why we are talking about a migration and not an update. With Shopware 5, it was possible to update Shopware 4 to 5. This was because the technical basis of Shopware 5 was already implemented as part of the Shopware 4 release. This is not the case with Shopware 5. So the reason for it is that Shopware 6 is a completely new product. It's a product for its own, and Shopware 6 is completely based on the API first approach. So all areas of the shop can also be operated automatically over the API. The change over time, it's completely your decision when and if you want to migrate. Shopware 5 won't be there forever. We've got an LTS runtime until 2024. So you've still got enough time to find the right time to migrate. If we then have a look at the extensions, surely you will have downloaded or bought extensions from the store, and not every extension is available for Shopware 6. So this is why you should go to the store or to the Shopware backend where you can have a look where the or when the respective manufacturer is planning a successor for its extension for Shopware 6 and whether this is still necessary at all. Now we come to the system requirements. I won't show you them in detail because it's better that you read through them in our Shopware docs. So just have a look at the operating systems and the environment. We've got some information about that in here. Then we've also got some information about the Shopware migration assistant, but I will show you this in the Shopware 5 backend. You can install the migration connector over your plugin manager, or you can go to our Shopware store and download the migration connector there. So if you've already installed it, you will find the Shopware 6 update section up here now. In the info tab you will find some information about the migration in general, also the links to our documentation. In the requirements tab, or the requirements tab shows you which requirements for Shopware 6 your server currently already meets and where you should configure your server before migration. And the plugin tab shows you for your installed plugins whether they are also available for Shopware 6 and the configurations can be adopted. Now that we've seen that all our system requirements are met, we can create a migration environment. To do this, we go into our Shopware account under Shops. Then select the respective Shopware 5 shop and then click on Create a Migration Environment. So this is the pop-up which appears where you start with setting a temporary Shopware 6 domain. So this will be the Shopware 6 domain where you migrate your Shopware 5 data to. So let's just say SW6 and then click on Create Migration Environment. We automatically get transferred to our Shopware 6 migration environment. This is, you can see that with the SW6 and then the old domain. So this is our Shopware version which will be used. Keep in mind that this creating a migration environment only is possible with an ongoing subscription for your Shopware 5 shop, or when you use the community edition like me, for example. After we have created a migration environment, we come to the first run wizard. Here we start with the option of installing the language pack. However, as this is not necessary for this migration video, I will skip this option. Click on Next. Now we come to the data transfer. Here I can say whether I want to work with the demo data or select the migration assistant and install it, of course. Of course, I select exactly this option. Remember, if you don't do this step here, you can, of course, still download the migration assistant from the store. So just click on Install Migration Assistant and wait a second. Now it's installed and you can click on Next. The next step is about the sales channel. You don't have to select it here because a separate sales channel will be created later for each Shopware 5 shop or sub-shop. Now we've got the mailer configuration. You can also do this later. PayPal, skip that as well. This is just information for the extensions. And then we come to the point Shopware account, where we will log in with the license host so that we can then select the shop which we previously created, so our migration environment. Now at this point I can verify my domain. So in this drop-down menu I see all my existing Shopware domains. Obviously in this case I choose the Shopware 6 migration domain, which we created previously, or my Shopware 6 migration environment. So just select your migration environment and click on Next. This is the point where you can activate your Shopware store or the Shopware store for your Shopware 6 shop. So either you activate it or skip this point, and then you're all done. So click on Finish and you will automatically be redirected to your Shopware 6 dashboard. Now you can start the migration directly over the dashboard. But here comes a little tip. Enter special data beforehand. As here, for example, for the payment methods. Where do we have them? Here. I have created the Zepa payment method here, as this is still included by default in Shopware 5, so that it is then mapped appropriately. It must of course exist in your Shopware 6 shop. The same obviously applies, for example, for the shipping methods or the currencies. So after that, you can calmly start with the migration, either over the dashboard, just like here, or over settings, extensions, and then over the migration assistant. So let's go to the dashboard again and then click on Open Migration Assistant. So let's start the migration now. For this purpose, the shop system must first be selected. In our case, we use Shopware 5, so we can just continue with the installation. If you come from Magento, you would have to install the Magento profile over this button here. So obviously we come from Shopware 5, so we'll just leave it as it is and click continue. Now a connection to the Shopware 5 environment must be established. So we choose a Shopware 5.7 connection or a Shopware 5.7 shop, because we use the latest version. And then you can select the gateway. So here you've got the possibility to select local database or API. Local database means that the Shopware 6 installation is on the same server as the Shopware 5 installation. API can be used if they are on different servers, whereby you can also use the API as an gateway in both cases. I'll show you both connections or both gateways now and start with the API gateway. Obviously you still have to enter a connection name. I'll just call it migration. This is just information about the required plugin migration connector. So just take it as a hint or as an information that you obviously have to have the connection or the migration connector installed. Just click on continue. And at this point, we now need our API key, our username or API user, and our shop domain. All information can be, we can get all the information from our Shopware 5 backend. Go to the user administration. Open your user. And then for the API access, we have to enable the API access. Just check this checkbox and then you'll get the API key. Copy this and try to remember your username, because this will be the username for the login. First enter the API key and then type in your username. In our case, this was admin. And then we have to enter our shop domain. So I've entered the shop domain now and can now press on connect. Now I directly see that our connection was successful and can start with my migration. I'll be automatically redirected to our Shopware migration assistant. Here you can see that the connection is successful, or that you've got a successful connection. I can always edit the connection, for example, if your API key changes, or I can create a new connection, change the connection, install another profile, delete the access data, or reset checksums. In our case, I previously said that I want to show you the local database gateway as well, so I will create a new connection here. I have to select another name because I had the migration as a name, or I had the word migration for our other connection. Then I have to select my shop system again. We had the 5.7 system, and then I'll select the local database. Establish connection, and then we will pass on with the access to the local database. At this point, you have to enter the host name. In case of a local database, this will be localhost. Select a port for it, enter your database username and your database password, the database name, and for the system you need to enter the installation root folder. So you really have to go down to the installation folder, the root folder of your installation. So those were the two connection options or gateways. Before we continue with the migration itself, I would like to point out again that you should check the connection beforehand. So the system profile, the gateway, the connection itself is if it is active or activated, or better to say whether it is successful, and the connection check. So if everything fits, we now come to the data selection. So this is the data that we want to migrate. The basic data is set as default. So these are the categories, the customer groups, the currencies, sales channels, or number ranges. So we've got 21 in sum. Then we've got the products. We can select them here. For example, the products, properties, product options, product properties, translations, cross-sellings, and main variant relations. The last one, we need them to map the variants or products correctly. We can also migrate the SEO URLs. For example, for the products, SEO URL, and translations, properties, products, and so on. We can migrate the product reviews, and the media. So we've got 23 here, and then after we selected all of them, we can start the migration. So now we've got two information about the currency and languages. So these are two examples where the system can't directly map the currency or the language. In this case, just read through this information here and then click yes, I would like to continue. So just continue. If you really want to migrate the currency, for example, this is Great Britain, it's pound, and here it's the language English, Great Britain. So now it's checking the data, and as you can see, the system has detected some data that requires manual assignment. So we've got the SEPA. It's the payment method. I think 10 minutes ago I told you that I created the SEPA payment method manually. So we can now select the payment method to map the payment methods. And then we've got the standard payment method, which is also which can't be mapped correctly, so we will just set where is it, invoice as the standard payment method. So as a salutation, we also got miss, and we haven't got miss anymore, so it can't be mapped, so we will just select misses and continue. Now the data will be read from the system. This can take a while, so just wait here before the data will then be written into Shopware 6. You can watch the process there, and then you'll get the message that your migration assistant is done. The mapping of the media will carry on in the background. So just go back to the dashboard, open the migration assistant, close this window, and then you can see the migration detail, or the migration in detail. Just close this window again, and then in the general overview you can click into history and see your started migrations. So this one is from today. The status is good, it's done. Over this context menu you could show the details, download the log, or delete the migration data. So at this point you will also see the new information that your last migration was today. Whilst we are at this point, or in this overview, I still want to give you the information that you can also start the migration over the console, the CLI, after the data check step. This can be useful if your Shopware 5 shop contains large amounts of data, or if you want to run the migration in the background. I recommend you to read our Shopware documentation for this step, because this is a bit more complex than the migration in the admin. You can also start the migration again. During the first migration, all migrated data is given a checksum, and this is real cool because based on this checksum, the migration wizard recognizes whether the data needs to be migrated or not. This prevents data from being migrated twice and possibly overwritten. So if you want to perform a complete migration again, so that all data in the target system is overwritten, you can reset the checksum. You can do this over this context menu and then just press reset checksum. After the migration, we still have to check a few points manually. So let's start with the sales channels. We can see on the left in the dashboard that the Shopware 5 sales channel has been migrated. This is this one. This also includes the sales channel created during the installation of Shopware 6. This is my Shopware 6 sales channel. So we now either set this to inactive or delete it. But what we definitely do is use the domain for the Shopware 5 shop. So for this sales channel, we need to copy this domain and then delete the domains. Save, go to your Shopware 5 shop or your Shopware 5 sales channel, scroll down and then add the domain. Set the language and select the snippet set. I'll just use this as an example and then click on save. So you can now see at this point that your Shopware 5 shop is successfully opened in the front end, so in the storefront. So if we actually go to our storefront now, we can see that all the products and categories have been migrated successfully. You will see some German products and German categories because my Shopware 5 shop was a German testing shop, so don't bother about the language here. But the migration was successfully, and if we go into a category, you can see this is not really perfect. This is because you actually can't migrate the shopping experiences or the shopping world from Shopware 5 to Shopware 6, so you have to edit them manually in the Shopware 6 shop. But everything worked. Obviously, you still have to check the mapping of the products and the categories and the products in the different categories manually. But this is a successful storefront by now. It's not just the sales channel which you should check manually. We've also got some other points where the data is not migrated automatically. So for example, we've got the point shipping in our settings. Since some technical changes have been made in the background for the shipping costs in Shopware 6, it's not possible to transfer the data automatically. So check the shipping methods, or in detail check the availability and the tax calculation. So you just have to check the configuration of the shipping methods, because the shipping methods itself, they will be migrated, but not the configuration of it, because this is another technology in Shopware 6 as it was in Shopware 5. The same thing goes for the payment methods. There you also have to check the configuration. For example, with the invoice payment method, there you got the possibility to use availability rules, so everything is somehow connected to the rule builder. The rule builder wasn't there in Shopware 5, so check the configuration of your payment methods as well. Then we've got the point countries. They should also check whether all countries relevant for you are present and active. That's very important that they are active. Then the point documents. You can find additional information about the documents in our documentations, the Shopware docs, because the document templates were also redesigned, so you have to check the data for the documents as well. Same goes for the email templates. Shopware 6 uses Twig as template engine, so it's not possible to use the previous email templates from Shopware 5. As previously mentioned, the shopping experience, former shopping worlds in Shopware 5, are completely different. So the shopping worlds and shop pages known from Shopware 5 are bundled centrally in Shopware 6 under the new shopping experiences. This is here. So the point content will guide you to the shopping experiences. So please just adapt the shop pages and landing pages according to your needs, or create new ones. You will find the module, just like I said, under content and then shopping experiences. In general, information about the templates, with Shopware 6, the basic architecture has been completely redesigned. And in this context, Shopware also relies on new technologies. This is what I said previously. Shopware 6 is a new product, and it was completely redesigned. For this reason, it's not possible to reuse your old templates or migrate them to Shopware 6. Shopware 6 comes with its own templates so that you can get started directly with Shopware 6. For this point, we've got some additional data or documentations in our developer documentation. You can find that as usual in our Shopware docs under developer documentations. We've got lots of information about templates and stuff like that in our developer docs. In general, it's just necessary to know for you that after the migration, we generally really recommend that you compare the individual functions of your new Shopware 6 instance with those of your Shopware 5 system. So just check manually whether you've got everything in your Shopware 6 shop to go live. But the last step before going live, you should really check, just because, let's say it like that. Just because the migration was successfully, it doesn't mean that everything works fine. So you really have to check every function, from extensions to your content, your customers' orders, catalogs, and so on. And obviously all your settings, so that everything works before you go live. Another hint is check that your migrated products, let's say this one for example, check the SEO settings, your SEO path for example. So select your Shopware 5 shop and check your path here before you go live. And I really hardly recommend you to check every function, every setting, every extension, and then everything will go live easily. To go live, we have to do some changes within the Shopware 6 target shop. So within this shop, you should now first transfer your licensing host to your main domain. You find it under settings, system, and then Shopware account. This is your license domain, and here you find, or would find, the verification hash. You see, this license domain is still the domain from our migration environment, so we have to change it to our domain which we want to use. This is our former Shopware 5 license domain. And then you still have to press save. Please note that the real verification of your license domain, or the real change of the license domain over the Shopware account, will be done from our colleagues from the sales team. So just contact our sales for the real license domain change. After that, it's still necessary to do some changes within your source shop. For example, changing the URL so that you will be directed to the Shopware, or the new Shopware 6 shop instead of the Shopware 5 shop. You can, this is a transfer of the domain within the sales channels. Then you still got to do a change in the hosting environment in Shopware 6. So if you need a few more detailed information about that, you will find these in the Shopware docs, because these are some, or here are some little tricky, complex settings, so just read through the changes in the hosting environment in the docs. After that, we can now complete the whole migration. Therefore, go under Settings, Extensions, Migration Assistant, click on the context menu and complete the migration. So after this information, you can click Finalize Now, and then you see this page. This means that your migration was successfully completed. So after completing the migration, you can go into your extensions and deactivate the migration assistant, because then you won't see the migration assistant on your dashboard anymore. This can be very annoying. So here you've got the normal dashboard with the statistics and your turnover.